Hey guys, how's it going? I'm going to go over the using Pythagorean theorem to find the missing side length. Okay, so get your name filled in, get your class period filled in. Okay, take a look at the learning log to see if you've done it. Okay, the Pythagorean theorem describes the special relationship that exists between the side length of a right triangle. In your learning log, describe how the Pythagorean theorem can be used to find a missing side length on a right triangle. Make up examples in which either the hypotenuse length is missing or the leg is missing. Be sure to include pictures and describe how you would find the missing of each. It's going to be hard to go ahead and include pictures, but you could find a couple online and go ahead and paste them in. I think the key part for this question is to make sure that you have the Pythagorean theorem written down. Okay, remember that's a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Okay, and this a is a leg, and the b is a leg, and the c is a hypotenuse. Okay, and you're squaring each one of those. Remember, when we look at a triangle, a right triangle, okay, picture this as a perfect right triangle. I know it's not, but the hypotenuse is always across from the right angle. The right angle is right here. This little symbol shows it's a right angle, and the hypotenuse is always going to be across from it. Okay, so that means these are your legs, and you have to just get them put in the correct position to find either the leg you're missing or if you're missing the hypotenuse. All right, moving along. Let's check it out. Okay, this is setting up a problem. It's talking about a baseball field, and you have to find the bases are each 90, and they want to try to figure out how far the catcher would be throwing from home plate to second. Okay, so understanding that, you will see that your right angle is here. So your C is right here, which is your hypotenuse. So it should be set up as 90 squared plus 90 squared equals RC squared. Okay. Now, the key is understanding that this H goes into RC squared. Okay. So the question wants to know, what are we trying to figure out? We're trying to find the hypotenuse. Okay, so as we go along, we're going to solve this problem. Okay, let's scroll down. They've given us an example of the problem, and you will notice that they've taken 90 squared, and 9 times 9 is just 81, and since we did 90 times 90, there's going to be 2 zeros. So that was kind of easy for us to do actually in our head. Okay. You add it up, you get 16,200, and you want to put 16,200 in your calculator, so you're going to hit second square root 16,200, and you're going to get approximately 127 feet. Okay, it's actually a little bit under, it's a little bit over 127. It's 127.27 or 127 and 27 hundredths. So it could actually be 127.3. Not really a big deal. Go ahead and head on to the next question, and you're going to see where it talks about Mark and Scott are rock climbing. Scott is at the top of a 75-foot cliff, and he throws a rope down to Mark, who is on the ground, and they stretch the rope out. Okay, it says the missing length that we're trying to find. Okay, so if I drew a picture, here's the picture right here. Okay, Mark's and Scott. Okay, so Scott is up here, and he threw that rope down, okay, to Mark, and they stretched it out, and that was your 96, and that is your hypotenuse. Okay, and this is one of your legs. So you're finding the distance from the base of the cliff here to where Mark is standing. Okay, so that is another leg. So it says, does your sketch look like this? You just need to answer yes, no, kind of. Okay, and then we are going to go ahead and solve that problem. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so we knew that this was, whoa, big, get that fixed here. Okay, so we want to do 75, wow, giant letters, squared, plus, well, we know that that's our b squared, okay, and it equals our c squared, which is going to be 96. Let me change the size of that. Okay, regular pen. All right, so we can do that very easily. This is where our algebra comes in, because we can draw our line. We have 75 squared, okay, and that's going to equal 5,625. Okay, I leave my b squared there. Okay, and I need to figure out what 96 squared is, so I'm going to punch that into a calculator, and that equals 9,216. So the reason that we drew our line is because we have algebra. We need to balance this. I need to get rid of this. Okay, so how am I going to do that? Well, let's add in a balance set. Okay, so we're going to get rid of it. That zeroes out, so that's gone, and then I just have b squared over here. But what I do to one side, I must also do to the other side. So let's subtract it from this side as well. Okay, 6 minus 5, 1. Got to borrow. Okay, this is going to give us, we're going to get to 11 minus 2, and we're going to go ahead and put that 9 in there. We got to borrow 8. This is going to become 11 minus 6, and we'll put our 5 in there, and our 3. So I'm punching in my calculator. I'm going to take the second, hit square root, 3591, so the square root, and it comes out to approximately 60 feet. Okay, so my answer actually is, when I take the square root of both sides, okay, I take the square root of that, that just becomes b. And I take the square root of 3,591, it actually became 59.92 ... just kept going on. But when I round it, I have a 9 here, so that's going to end up being approximately 60 for our answer. All right, let's go ahead and check out what we got going on next. Oh, they give us the answer there. This is the same math. Okay, she's using algebra here and you're showing you. And again, it's going to still be approximately 60. Okay, here we go. Scrolling right down. How do you know when to add or subtract when using the Pythagorean theorem? Okay, so again, going back, when we're adding, we know that we're going to have our a squared, which is a leg, plus our b squared, which is a leg, and it's going to equal c squared. Okay, when we're trying to find our hypotenuse. So when we have two legs, we square both of those, and it will equal the hypotenuse squared. Okay, so if we have both legs, we add, and we get the hypotenuse. Okay, when we're subtracting, it's when we have a leg, and we have the hypotenuse, and we're missing this leg here, and I don't know what that is. So we have our a squared, we're missing our b squared, okay, so this is missing, and we know our c squared, okay. Then we would, just like the problem above, we would have to subtract and balance just like that, okay. We'll get some practice with that here in a second. All right. Why is it useful to draw a diagram? Well, it's useful to draw a diagram because it gives us something that's very visual. Okay, check out this video here. This is really awesome. It's why you need to know this. You could lose $15,000 if you don't know this. Let's look at question 9-127 and 9-75 here and take a look at them. Basically what these questions are asking is, which of these four numbers could be a right triangle? Okay, so you need to try them. So if you took 5 squared and you took 12 squared, would it equal, I don't know, let's try 15 squared, okay? And then you have to do the math, right? 25, okay? We're going to have 15 squared, 225, and 144, okay? So you go ahead and you add that up. Does 25 plus 144 equal 225? And the answer would be, I get 169 on this side and 225 on this side, right? So that's, no, they don't equal each other. This does not equal this, okay? So these numbers, 5, 12, and 15, it can't be that, okay? And you have to keep working along until you get your answer, okay? So the next one to try, maybe 5 squared plus 12 squared equals 13 squared. Again, really important that I get the legs positioned in the right spots. The legs have to be the two smaller sides, so 13 has to be the hypotenuse. If I choose 5, 12, and 13, 13 is the largest side. It has to go in the hypotenuse position. So we already knew that one. 25. We already knew that one. 144 from the previous problem we just did. And 13 squared is 169. Well, we just saw that number pop up. We knew that this side equaled 169 and this side equals 169. And if they are equal to each other, then that can be a right triangle. So we know that our answer would be 5, 12, and 13. Nope, don't select 15. Okay. Very simple. That's how you do it. The next one is very similar. Okay, so you want to go through it. You want to test it. Okay, let's test 8 squared. Let's take the 15 and let's take the 17 because it has to be. Once I picked the 15, I knew I had to have the hypotenuse of 17 because the largest side has to go in the hypotenuse. So 64. Okay. 225. I don't know 17 squared off the top of my head, so let's punch it in. 17 squared equals 289. Well, just looking at this, it looks like we're getting pretty close here. Actually, yeah, 289 equals 289. So we got lucky on that one and guessed correctly. You're not going to always guess correctly. Okay, I just happened to guess correctly. I didn't know the answer to it. I just took a guess. And you're going to have to do some trial and error. Okay, so we know that this one is 8, 15, and 17. Okay, moving along. Let's take a look, see what else we got going on here. Okay, this next one, 9-130, and lives on a shore side of a large lake. A market is located 24 kilometers south and 32 kilometers west of her home. On the other side of the lake, if she takes a boat across the lake directly to the market, how far from her home? Okay, so the key is getting the problem set up correctly. So it said, whoa, that's horrible. Let me try that again. Whoop. Perfect. Nope. Okay. I'm obviously not going to get this right. Okay, so what I knew was it said 24 miles south. So that's south. I went down. So that's 24. Okay. And I knew I had to go west. Okay, so I went west. So that was 32. So they've given us the legs. So on this one, we just got to do the math. We need to use the formula. We go ahead and plug it in. We know our legs. This is our missing side, which is our hypotenuse, or C. So we have 24 24 squared plus 32 squared equals, we're going to use our c squared. You can use h squared, but I'm sticking to c squared because it's what the formula is and I know it. 24 squared, I don't know that off the top of my head. It is 576. 32 squared, I don't know that one off the top of my head either. It's okay if you don't know these. Use your calculator, plug it in. I get 1024. I like those numbers because these are numbers from their memory. So like this is a 1 gig phone. This would be a 576 gig phone. These are numbers that we use for memory and storage. That's why I like those numbers. Kind of a nerd alert. On these ones. Okay, so now we just need to add them up. 576 plus 1024. We get 1600. Okay, and that equals our c squared. Okay, see, this is really nice. I already know the answer to this with when doing square root because I know what the square root of 16 is. Okay, so if I had the square root of 16, I would know that it was going to be 4, right? Because 4 times 4 equals 16. But then I have these two zeros that I'm adding on. So I know that I would have to add one of those zeros on. So I know that 40 times 40 is going to be 1600. Okay, so the square root of c squared is just c. So we know that it would be 40 kilometers across the river or lake. All right, here we go. Next one says the hypotenuse. Okay, so we have the hypotenuse and one leg of a right triangle are 60 and 65. Okay, so here we go. Get a right triangle drawn. Okay, the key is that it's giving us a hypotenuse. So we know that the hypotenuse across from the right angle has to be the larger of the two numbers. So across from the right angle has to be 65. Now the 60, it doesn't matter which leg it goes on. So let's just put it over here because it really doesn't matter to me. Okay, so here we go. Plug it in. I know that I have an a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Okay, I know that one of my legs is either going to be a or b. Okay, I know one of them. We have our missing side, so that's my missing side. So let's go ahead and put 60 in A. Doesn't matter, I could have put it in B. We're just going to leave our b squared here. Okay, and we know our c squared is 65 squared. All right, here we go. 60 squared, going to be pretty easy. 6 times 6 is 36, so 3600. Okay, plus b squared equals 65 squared, and that's going to equal 4,000. Wow, 225. All right, this is where algebra comes in. Draw your line. Okay, I'm going to subtract 3600. Subtract 3600. This is a big zero pair. Leaves me with b squared on this side. And we are going to do that math. And it leaves me with 625. But that is not my answer because that's still squared. So we need to take the square root of both of these. Square root of b squared is just b. And the square root, second square root of 625 equals 25. Okay, there we go. So our b is 25. Okay, go ahead and check your answers. You can go ahead and rate your confidence and then explain your reasoning for your confidence. That should be it. Thanks, guys. Thanks for listening. If you have any questions, please hit me up on Google Hangout. Email me, whatever you need. Thanks. Bye.